So, what planet are you? Seems like a strange question to ask about writing, isn't it? I guess more specifically or more accurately, the question would be, what celestial body would represent your knowledge of writing, of screenwriting in particular? And let me explain that a little bit before you answer. A few weeks ago, or probably weeks ago before the holidays, my daughter was watching a video on YouTube about the celestial bodies, planets, stars, things like that, moons in the universe, and was showing them from smallest to largest. So at first you get like Ceres, Makemake, and some other ones. I think I pronounced that correctly. And then it moves up, and then you see, Earth and the planets that we're familiar with, and there's some bigger ones, and you see the scale of it. The smaller ones starting to get dwarfed literally by the larger ones, and then those planets get dwarfed by the sun, and then we find out that the sun is actually a pretty small star, and then there's these giant stars, and then it just keeps getting smaller and smaller as these bodies get bigger and bigger, and you see the scale of how small what we consider to be massive, or our entire planet, actually are in the universe. So what does this have to do with writing? What does this have to do with the question? And here's what it made me think about. It made me think about my own journey in writing and how much you think you know about things. When I first started, obviously I didn't know much. I think everybody would pretty much admit when they start, I don't know anything. I need to read a book. I need to learn something. I need to take a class. I need to learn some lessons. And we're pretty open to learning new things because we want to be good at the thing that we want to do. So early on, I read Syd Field's screenplay. I've talked about this a little bit in another video. I went out and I bought 2-3 other books from Barnes & Noble. Internet wasn't huge the way it is now. I mean, Amazon existed, eBay existed, but it wasn't the way it is now. So a lot of books I was still getting from the stores and reading them front to back multiple times, getting that knowledge in my head, started writing, and I finished my first screenplay, and I thought it was amazing. I mean, maybe amazing is a strong word, but I thought I fit all the things that are in a screenplay. I formatted it properly. I did everything. I even printed it and assembled it as a professional screenplay. I know we don't do so much with physical copies until production right now, but back then, I mean, having a physical copy was still normal. So I mean, I wanted to look like, feel like, I wanted it to be an official screenplay from start to finish, and I dotted the T's and crossed the I's. I mean, in hindsight, I probably did those things, but I thought I knew more than I did. I thought my screenplay was better than it was. I stayed in that little solar system, and I thought, okay, I know I'm not great, I'm not selling anything, but I'll enter a contest, I'll do these things. And I got really disappointed when I didn't get any positive feedback. I had a couple people I knew read my story, my screenplay, and they liked it, but they're not professional readers, they're not professional writers, they're not producers. They'll like it partially because it's you, but partially because they are not trained in the industry. They're not judging it the way everyone else in the industry will. So I'm, visualizing, just say, the solar system. I thought I was around Earth. I'll move a couple, revisions, a couple more screenplays, a little bit more knowledge, and yeah, I'll get up there to, Saturn and Jupiter, the gas giants. I'm going to be a big part of this solar system. Looking back now, I was still a very, very small piece of this galaxy, of this universe. And when I saw the scale down on this video, or scale up, it really made me look at myself and take notice of where I was back then and where I am now. I'm obviously a much better screenwriter. I've taken it much more seriously. I've been harder on myself. I get much more feedback, which if there's any word of advice I can give somebody, it's get feedback from other people, not just family and friends. And then I found out, that first screenplay I wrote was garbage. It was garbage. And I don't say that easily. I don't say that lightly. It wasn't good. I mean, there's bones of a story that are good, but what I wrote on the page was not good. Dialogue was unnatural. It was forced. I wrote it to be what I thought a movie would look like or sound like, not how actual people speak. And what I thought was Earth may have been Earth, but it's on the scale of a much larger universe. And looking back now, and then it makes me think where I am now. And it's like, okay, I'm way beyond where I was. But there's still a ton of larger celestial bodies, so to speak. There's still so much more to learn. And I can't get caught up in this current solar system, this current universe. So there's always a bigger one. There's and then there's a black hole, and then there's a supermassive. It just keeps getting bigger. You keep learning more. You keep improving. Your work gets better. Your process gets better. And the truth is, I don't think we can really see the scale of where we are until we're beyond it and we look back. And at the time, I thought what I was doing was good. I thought it was 7 out of 10. It was good stuff. It was, somebody reads it, that could be on a screen, somebody could produce it as is, and it would be good. Looking back, it was unfilmable. No one would do it. And I feel like silly almost that I entered that in a contest years ago, and that I used that to promote what I thought was good work at the time. It's been 25-ish years, maybe even longer, since I wrote that first one. Reading it now, I know it needs a total rewrite, but looking at my newer stuff, I can say, well, this stuff is much better. But in 10 years, 5 years, next year, am I going to look back and say, wow, this was not good. This was not good. And the truth is, we don't really know until we get a step away from it and look back. We get that scale, we get that perspective. So think about that when you're looking back at your old writing, looking back at what you are doing now, but then think about the future and say, is this something maybe in a year I'm going to look back on and still think that this is great, good, bad, whatever it is? And time will usually tell you. And if you think the work you did years ago is of equal quality of the work you're doing today, I would consider that, and I would question that. Look into it a little deeper, because your work should be improving. And so I ask you, take a good look at what you've done in the past, what you're doing now, compare them, and then say, what planet am I? What planet is my writing? Am I still Ceres, Mercury, Venus? Or am I getting up there? Am I getting out of the solar system? Am I getting up there to a sun, to a star? Because ideally, and not to be cheesy, but I think being a star is what we want to be. This is a business of stars, movies, writers, directors, and think about it. And good luck on becoming a star.